What's going on, everybody? This is Coach D, the Wild Man, with another episode of MMA Fight Camp. All right, UFC 206 Aftermath. It was a card of the ages. If you missed this card, I recommend you figure it out and watch it. It is just that good, bell to bell, banging. What you thought was going to happen, none of it happened like you thought. Let me tell you what, it was serious. Everybody was sleeping on this card. If you were a journalist or a podcaster, the card was decent. I mean, it was a good card on paper. You go, okay, this might be an okay card. But no one gave it the level of push that you would have gave a card that had like John Jones on it, or definitely if it had Conner McGregor on it or Ronda Rousey on it or some big star, it would have got a whole bunch of more push. But since it didn't, and it had so much controversy, nobody really gave it that much. Okay, it didn't happen. It was going to be in Toronto. I mean, it was in Toronto. They didn't have George St. Pierre on it, so there was nobody who they considered was a headliner to boost the sales and to boost the pay-per-views and everything that was supposed to happen. That is our mistake. We messed it up because we didn't pay attention to what we were looking at. This card clearly, to me, may have been the top three of the year. The top three of the year. I'm not going to say of all time. I'm going to say of the year. This card was ridiculous. Pound for pound, I would say it stacks up to 205 in my opinion, as far as giving the fans what they wanted. If you wanted some good fights, if you wanted some good back and forth, if you wanted some good, I didn't see that coming, oh my God, what am I looking at? That's exactly what you got out of this card. So you can't throw shade on nothing. Now, granted, this card had plenty of controversy. Okay, it started off with Daniel Cormier getting injured, and he had to be dropped from the card. Okay, so no Daniel Cormier, no Rumble Johnson, which everybody wanted to see. Okay, we couldn't make any kind of deals of getting George St. Pierre on the card to boost the numbers, so that didn't happen. Okay, then on top of that, Anthony Pettis did not make weight. He was 3 pounds overweight, did not make the cut, so it wasn't an interim title fight. Okay, the only one who could receive a title for that fight would have been Max Holloway. Okay, so they had the share of a lot of controversy that people go, oh my God, one thing after another. Why should I even pay for this pay-per-view? Okay, that's what's the buzz. Because if you look at it, all your podcaster and your journalists, they all have the same story. If you look at Luke Thomas, he said it's a good card, but we need a megastar on it. You know, Eric Hawani says it's a great card, but we need a star on there. You know what I'm saying? You know, Brandon Schwab, same thing. Good card, but we need a superstar. We need a George St. Pierre to sell it. Why didn't the UFC do it? How come they couldn't make the deal with George St. Pierre? They were talking about everybody else and the controversy, and they weren't really talking about the card. The card was an afterthought. Okay, it was like, okay, well, the card's going to happen. Let's see what happens. And it did not disappoint. I mean, even the first fight, which was, I don't know the guys' names, so it was Jordan Means versus Emil Meeks. You know, he had to shave his beard and cut his hair and stuff like that, you know, so he can fight. You know, that turned out to be a very good fight. You know, there was a lot of back and forth. You know, freaking Meek got the win. But they were slugging and banging, man. They were, you know, they had some good ups and downs. You know, very, very good fight to start the card. Okay, but nobody wasn't really paying them much attention. You know, they were, but they weren't. They weren't engaged because they were, you know, guys who were still coming up. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have the kind of name we're looking for. So the first name fight we're trying to pay attention to was Tim Kennedy versus Kelvin Gastelum. Okay, and you all know the story with Kelvin. He has a hard time making weight. I mean, his problem was weight. You know, so my last article was on people having problem making weight cut. You know, we're talking about UFC 206. 206 had that stigma. You know, you had Calvin Gastelum, who didn't make weight at UFC 205 against Daniel Cerrone, and he had to be dropped from the card, so that whole fight was dropped. So Daniel Cerrone couldn't get his mega fight in New York due to Calvin Gastelum not making weight. Okay, so he had that kind of bad press there. Then turn around, he gets to put on the very next card at UFC 206 against Tim Kennedy. So yeah, I had a little rant on that. You know what I'm saying? Like how was he getting all these passes? You know, there's several times that he didn't make weight and he's still hanging around. You know, he still be able to, get on cards. You know, if you look at Rumble Johnson, when he had to fight Vitor Belfort, he didn't make weight and he had an ugly fight and he got dropped from the UFC. He made his way back, but he did get dropped. Okay, Calvin Gastelum is a couple times he doesn't make weight, and he didn't make weight on the biggest card of the year up to this date, and he didn't get dropped. So I didn't understand it. Okay, but I didn't realize that he wasn't fighting at 170. He was fighting at 185 against Tim Kennedy because Rashad Evans got dropped. He was a last-minute replacement. I get it. Okay, but you make the fighters think, oh hey, there's nothing going to happen to me. I can not make a weight and still get on these cards, still get paid, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So it sets a bad precedence, to not making weight. Where all the fighters say, if you're not making weight, that's the ultimate level of disrespect and unprofessionalism by not making weight. That's your job to make weight. So, Calvin Gastelum against Tim Kennedy, back and forth what kind of fight it was going to be. Everybody kind of, if I'm not mistaken, everybody had like Tim Kennedy should be able to do his thing and come out and squeak out the win. Okay, but I was like, well, how long Tim Kennedy has been out? Tim Kennedy's been gone for the UFC for a minute. So I couldn't remember his last fight. Matter of fact, I had to post it on Facebook. Go, hey man, somebody tell me Tim Kennedy's last fight. Cause I was watching the fight. I couldn't think of it. Come to find out, Calvin Gastelum had a game plan. You know what I'm saying? On his feet, Calvin Gastelum got some hands now. He can throw it on you. And of course, he ain't had to cut no weight, so he was just fine. Tim Kennedy is the one that had the problems. You know what I'm saying? First round went good when Tim Kennedy's way was able to take him down, control him, But at the end of the first round, Calvin got some good shots. And that kind of set the tone going into the second and third. Tim Kennedy pretty much gassed. He didn't really have an answer. And in the end of the third round, he got finished. He got TKO'd. So that was the first. Like, okay, what am I looking at? Tim Kennedy, who was supposed to be in the top three, he's supposed to be that guy. To go for the belt and be a belt holder. Didn't never seem to get there. Now he's doing the thing with MMA. Athletic Association. So he got that stuff going on. Don't a lot of shade UFC's way and all that kind of good stuff. Then he gets in the ring and he gets dealt with. You know what I'm saying? So that in itself is going to have its own stigma story for Tim Kennedy. You know what I'm saying? But hey, welcome to the fight game. So then we got into Cub Swanson and Ho Choi. Okay? Giving you some backstory on this. Okay, come to find out, Ho Choi called out Cub Swanson. Oh, dang. Sorry about that. Let me turn my phone down yet again, because I keep forgetting. Okay. So it's Cub Swanson versus Ho Choi. Ho Choi called out Cub Swanson as the fight he wants. Okay, come to find out, Cub Swanson took that personal. Because he didn't. His last couple of fights wasn't what it was supposed to be. He got really dealt with by Frankie Edgar. You know what I'm saying? So he said he went back and corrected some of these missteps, because he also got beat by Max Holloway too. So he went back and corrected some of these missteps, and he wanted to show Ho Choi what it is, what was getting ready to happen. You see what I'm saying? And that turned out to be the fight of the freaking millennium. When you talking about a back and forth with somebody giving it, getting dealt with, coming back, giving it again, going back and forth, slugging and banging. That's what they did. This fight was incredible. I guarantee it's going to go down in the history books as one of the best fights in the UFC. Because like I said, Ho Choi is an up-and-comer. He had a couple of good fights. His strikes are accurate. So they were painting his picture as, somebody coming up, somebody has the potential, to be a good fighter after he makes his bones. To come out and call out Cub Swanson, he gonna really be tested, and tested he was. Cub Swanson was throwing everything at Choi. But what made it so good is that no matter what Cub Swanson threw, Choi's wouldn't go down. I mean, he was like freaking, he had a chin of whatever, man. He just would not go down. Cub Swanson had to beat the pure mess out of Choi just to get the win. I mean, it was a unanimous decision. Cub Swanson won it hands down by all three judges' scorecards. But you can tell by looking at it, because they were fighting. That was by far the greatest fight I've seen in a long, long time. On a card that wasn't expected to do nothing. Understand? Wasn't nobody giving this card, any kind of real props. It was another decent card, great UFC throw on the card. It was an afterthought card. It wasn't no major, let's look and see what's going to happen card. You see what I'm saying? So to already see the fights you were seeing, we're like, good grief. Okay. Then from there, after that super mega fight, could anybody even live up to that fight moving forward? So you had Donald Cerrone versus Matt Brown, okay, which was, a good backstory, because Matt Brown was talking that noise, says, Daniel Cerrone is a punk, and, said he's two-faced, and he was backtracking after joining this, the MMA Association, all that kind of good stuff. Dana White said, hey, he was disappointed, so they said, Donald Cerrone had to backtrack what he was said to get back in Dana White's good graces, and all that kind of mess. So basically, Matt Brown was trying to get in Donald Cerrone's head. Okay? So, Donald Cerrone wasn't worrying about it. He said, okay, we'll see what we can get in the ring. And Matt put up a hell of a fight. Matt dropped Donald Cerrone at one time, and he was throwing some heavy punches. It seemed like Donald Cerrone wasn't really getting a good rhythm. They had kind of a little brawl type, fight style going on to it. It wasn't Donald Cerrone's sharp moments where he was just connecting, good clean shots, all that kind of good stuff. He was basically brawling with Matt. That's Matt's style. But Donald Cerrone being Donald Cerrone, through that lead left that led right into a straight kick, knocked Matt out. Matt went down, ended the fight. So Matt got TKO due to head kick. So Donald Cerrone still the man at 170, still unbeaten. But this gives you a good test of a solid 170er can give Donald some problems. Somebody who can stay in there and bang with him and take some shots. Donald Cerrone had to put some stuff together in order to beat him. But he did. So Donald Cerrone versus Tyron Woodley wouldn't be a bad fight. That may be a fight that you fans might want to ask for. That may be something to see. All right, let's move on. Okay. Then we got down to the main event. Okay. So the backstory with this one, I'm sure everybody knows. Okay. Anthony Pettis had 3 losses at 155. Lost his belt and had 2 more, defeats at 155. So he decides he's gonna drop down to 145. In his game plan, he wanted to be a 2-weight division, title holder. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as a champion, why not? Conner McGregor did it. Randy Couture did it. BJ Penn did it. So he wanted to be that guy too, especially after what kind of performances he was having at 155. So he came back down. Great story. Anthony Pettis is that guy. He can put together some serious fights. So you can see him doing it. Okay? But what he wasn't thinking about, he thought that he was going to go ahead and handle Max Holloway. He thought Max Holloway wasn't up for that game yet. Okay, but Max Holloway up to that point was a 9-fight. He was on a 9-fight win streak. Why wouldn't he be able to deal with somebody coming out to his weight class? And Max Holloway said, they said, look, you ain't gonna come down to 145 and take something from me. That ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna deal with it how I deal with it. But come on down if you think you up for it. You know what I'm saying? No problem. So okay, let's get some of these stigmas. And that's stigmas. Here's some of the problems. Okay, Anthony Pettis made weight the first time at 145, and was able to, win his fight convincingly, So it looked like he wouldn't have a problem making weight again. Okay, but he wasn't able to. Okay, he came in at 148, 3 pounds over the limit. So now he can't fight for the interim title. So if that's not bad enough, we give it impression in the media. We ain't kill him, but we did give him a hard way to go because you're supposed to be a professional. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to make weight. You decided to go down. No one made you go down. So all of these kind of talks, on social media and blah, 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 blah. So we had that going in. And Max Holloway was ready. Was ready to do this thing. So Max, and the only thing Anthony Pettis can do is show him why he's Anthony Pettis. And he had to win this fight. He had to win this fight to get back in any kind of traction, any kind of momentum to get him to reach his goals of being a two-time belt holder in 2 different weight divisions. Great solid fight. It seems like Max kind of knew what was going on. There was nothing that Anthony Pettis threw at Max that Max couldn't handle. Max was throwing trips. Max was throwing straight down the pike. Max wasn't worrying about Anthony Pettis kicks. You know what I'm saying? So he pretty much had Anthony Pettis' number pretty good. And in the third round, he stopped him. Max Holloway stopped Anthony Pettis, which was the first time in Anthony Pettis' career he got stopped. Now, we come to find out, Anthony Pettis broke his hand. Okay, so that he couldn't perform like he was supposed to perform. But that's the fight game. Things are going to happen. But the end result, Anthony Pettis got stopped. He says, hey, I can't make 145. I have to go back up to 155. Where he got mollywopped by the top 3. So now what is he going to do? What's he going to do? You know what I'm saying? He's in that limbo state. There's only so many times that you can, recharge your career. Because now he lost his last 4 out of 5. That's usually chopping block time. So we're going to see what's going to happen. But that card, UFC 206, was simply the card to watch. Everybody was sleeping on it. It didn't. I'm pretty sure it didn't do the numbers that it should have done because there were no major headliners. But a whole bunch of stars came out of that fight. Okay, Max Holloway, interim champion. Okay, Cub Swanson, resurgent veteran. And Ho Choi, freaking monster with a chin of steel. Stock went up. All their stocks went up. So this is a super card. Even Calvin Gastelum had a little bit of a resurgence. He says, hey, man, I can get it done, man. I can get it done. It's hard to win you at 170, but I can get it done. Even he had a little bit of shine in that. Donald Cerrone, still finished. I think he finished all four of his fights at 170. So he's on a destruction streak right now. You know what I'm saying? So that card had everything you need to be a UFC solid card to watch. So we were just sleeping on it. We had too many stars in our eyes. You know what I'm saying? We thinking a megastar can't get it done. I mean, without a megastar, a card can't get it done. That's our fault. That's our fault for talking all this foolishness that fighters aren't there to fight. Fighters aren't willing to put on a great show, and fighters aren't there to show you that they can get it done too. And that's exactly what 206 done. UFC 206 did. So I got to eat my words and go, I was sleeping on it. Okay, and I will never do that again. I will never underestimate a card being able to carry it on its own and give everybody what they want. Nobody can say this card didn't deliver. Nobody. If you did, you lying. If you saying the card didn't make it happen, you are lying to yourself to get some kind of, clickbait points or whatever you're trying to do, because this card was the bomb. Cub Swanson and Choi stole the freaking show. So, in my opinion, Conner who? If they can do what they just did tonight on other cards, then you don't got to worry about Conner McGregor going down the line. You have to worry about Ronda Rousey going on the line. They're going to create their own stardom, and fans are going to want to come see it. I guarantee it. That's what I got because it was an awesome fight card. I'm still motivated. All right, this is Coach D, the Wild Man. Another episode of MMA Fight Camp. UFC 206 was the bomb. If you like what I'm doing, follow me on MMA Fight Camp page. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on my YouTube page. You know, if you like what I'm doing, hit me up and go, Darren, you do a great job. Keep it up. If you don't like what we're doing, come at me so I can figure it out and we can get better. Because that's what I'm here to do. That's what kind of game I'm trying to bling. I'm trying to up my game as a podcaster and journalist because that's what it is. All right. Till you hear from me again. Peace out.